My mind spun. Was this why Victor faked his death? To keep Thomas from finding me. But another twist came. Thomas pulled a gun. Choose now, Lila. Join me, or you're as dead as Daniel. Before I could answer, headlights flooded the lighthouse. Victor burst in, unarmed, shouting, "Eleanor, he's lying." A gunshot rang out not from Thomas, but from behind me. Sophia stood there, free again, her face twisted with rage. "You both ruined my life," she screamed, firing again. Thomas collapsed, blood pooling. Victor tackled her, wrestling the gun away as police sirens wailed in the distance. "How is she out?" I screamed. Victor panted. "She escaped Marcus's contacts. I got a tip, followed you." The police stormed in, cuffing Sophia, who was ranting about the money, the adoption, her stolen life. Thomas, still alive, was rushed to the hospital, but not before whispering, "Check the locket, Lila. Proof." Back home, I opened the locket again. Inside, behind the photo, was a tiny note in my mother's handwriting. "Lila, born to Clara and Thomas Reed, swapped at birth. Forgive me." DNA tests later confirmed I was Lila Reed, not Eleanor Brooks. My entire life was built on a hospital era, a secret Victor kept to shield me from Thomas's dangerous world. Sophia's trial revealed more. She'd orchestrated her escape, funded by Marcus's smuggling allies, to kill Thomas and claim his fortune, believing I'd inherit nothing as a fake daughter. Victor confessed everything: his role in the smuggling, hiding my identity, even paying Daniel to keep Thomas at bay. "I loved you too much to lose you," he said, tears falling. We rebuilt, slowly. The foundation grew, now called the Lila Reed Foundation, honoring my true name. Thomas survived but faced charges, his fortune seized. I forgave Victor, but some nights, I stare at the locket, wondering who I might have been. He led me inside, pulling a locked box from under the floorboards, a hiding place I hadn't known existed. Inside were yellowed documents, photos, and a locket I hadn't seen in decades. "This was your mother's," he said, handing me the locket. "She gave it to me before she died. Asked me to protect you." My mother had died when I was 5, leaving me with fragmented memories and a foster family, until I met Victor. I opened the locket, a photo of a woman who looked like me, but with sharper features, and a man I didn't recognize. "Who are they?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Victor's story came slowly, each word a dagger. "Your mother wasn't just a single parent, Eleanor. She was married to Daniel's best friend, a man named Thomas Reed, part of our smuggling ring. When you were born, there was a mix-up at the hospital. Your birth records were swapped with another baby's. Thomas suspected you weren't his, but your mother swore you were. He left her, and she raised you alone until she got sick. When she died, she begged me to watch over you, to keep you away from Thomas and his world." I felt the ground shift. "A mix-up. You're saying I might not be Eleanor Brooks?" Victor nodded, eyes downcast. "I didn't know for sure until years later, when Daniel tracked down Thomas. He was alive, running a new smuggling operation, and he'd been looking for you not out of love, but because he believed you had a claim to his fortune. I kept it from you to protect you." The twist hit like a tidal wave. My entire identity, my name, my history, might be a lie. And Victor had known. The next day, I drove to Harborview's hospital archives, the anonymous letter burning in my purse. The clerk, an old friend from my librarian days, pulled my birth records. They listed my mother Clara, but the father's name was blank, with a handwritten note: "Disputed paternity. See File 47B." File 47B was missing, stolen. The clerk said, "Years ago." My phone buzzed again. "Thomas Reed is alive. Find him at the old lighthouse tonight, alone." I didn't tell Victor. I couldn't trust him fully anymore. That night, under a moonless sky, I drove to the abandoned lighthouse on Harborview's cliffs, heart pounding. The door creaked open, revealing a man in his 70s, weathered like driftwood, with eyes that mirrored mine. "Eleanor," he said, voice low. "Or should I say, Lila Reed?" My knees buckled. "Who are you?" I demanded. "I'm your father," Thomas said. "Your mother lied to protect you. I was a dangerous man, still am. Victor and Daniel betrayed me, kept you hidden to control my money." He pulled out a photo of me as a toddler, with him and my mother. "You're my heir, Lila. There's $500,000 waiting, but only if you help me take Victor down. He's not the saint you think." "I didn't want Dad dead, Mom. I just wanted the money to escape Marcus's debts." But he went too far. Another twist. Marcus appeared from the shadows outside, gun in hand. "You're all so predictable," he sneered. "Sophia, You think you can turn on me?" Before anyone could react, police sirens wailed, and officers stormed in, arresting Marcus and the intruders. Sophia dropped her gun, sobbing, "I'm sorry, Mom." The police uncovered the full truth. Victor and Daniel had been entangled in a smuggling ring decades ago, moving contraband fish to dodge quotas. They'd stashed $200,000, which Daniel hid before his murder. Sophia, learning she wasn't our biological daughter, felt betrayed and allied with Marcus, who was drowning in $100,000 of gambling debts. They poisoned Daniel, thinking he was Victor, to claim the insurance and find the stash. Victor, suspecting their plan, faked his death with Daniel's help, only for Daniel to be killed by Marcus's associates when he refused to reveal the money's location. The texts, some from Victor, others from a dock worker Victor trusted, who'd been watching Sophia and Marcus. The trial was brutal. Sophia turned state's evidence, exposing Marcus's ties to the smuggling ring. She got 15 years, Marcus's life. Victor faced charges, but received probation for cooperating. We sold the cottage to many ghosts and moved to a quiet inland town. Now, at 70, I run the Victor Brooks Foundation, helping families betrayed by greed. Victor and I rebuilt our trust, but it's fragile. The garden we tend together blooms, a reminder that truth, however painful, sets you free. After the arrests, Victor and I moved to a quiet inland town called Will, hoping to leave Harborview's ghosts behind. The cottage, once our haven, was sold, its memories tainted by betrayal. We bought a modest farmhouse with a sprawling garden where we planted roses and lavender, trying to rebuild our life. Victor's probation kept him tethered to weekly check-ins, but he swore he was done with secrets. "Eleanor, it's just us now," he'd say, squeezing my hand. His blue eyes, though, still held a flicker of unease, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking beneath the surface. The Victor Brooks Foundation was thriving, helping families like ours navigate the pain of betrayal. I threw myself into it, finding purpose in guiding others through their storms. But late at night, when the farmhouse creaked and the wind whispered through the fields, I'd lie awake, haunted by unanswered questions. Who was the dock worker sending those texts alongside Victor? Why had Victor never told me about the smuggling money until it was almost too late? And most unsettling, what did Sophia mean when she said Marcus went too far? Was there more to her role in this than she'd admitted? One chilly evening, as I sorted foundation paperwork, a letter slipped from a stack of donations. No return address, just my name scrawled in shaky handwriting. Inside was a single sentence: "You're not who you think you are. Ask Victor about the hospital records." My heart raced, the same cryptic tone as those texts from the funeral. I checked my phone, another message from an unknown number: "Dig into your birth certificate. The truth starts there." My hands trembled. Was this another prank, or had the past come knocking again? Victor was in the garden, pruning roses. I confronted him, holding the letter. "What's this about hospital records? Who am I, Victor?" His face froze, the shears dropping to the ground. "Eleanor, I don't know what you're talking about," he stammered, but his eyes betrayed him. Fear, the same look he'd had when confessing about the smuggling. "Don't lie to me," I snapped. "Not after everything." He sighed, slumping onto a bench. "It's not about you, Eleanor. It's about me. I didn't want you to know the whole truth about Daniel and me, and your past." Check the safe. My heart stopped. The same mysterious number that had first alerted me at the funeral was back. Was it really Victor texting me before, or someone else? And what safe? We didn't have one, or so I thought. Victor was out fishing the next morning, so I tore through the cottage, searching. Behind an old bookshelf in his study, I found a hidden panel, and inside, a small safe. My hands trembled as I tried combinations. Our anniversary, Sophia's birthday, until it clicked open on Daniel's birthdate, a date Victor had never shared. Inside were documents, photos, and a USB drive. The photos showed Victor and Daniel together, recent, not decades old, at a shady dockside bar. Documents revealed Victor had been paying Daniel monthly, thousands of dollars labeled protection. The USB held audio files. I played one, and my blood ran cold. It was Victor's voice, talking to Daniel. "They're on to us, Dan. If they find out about the deal, we're both dead." Daniel replied, "You should have never gotten involved with those people. I told you the smuggling would catch up." Smuggling. Victor, my honest fisherman, involved in something illegal. Another file had Daniel saying, "Sophia knows about the cash stash. She's working with Marcus to get it. They think killing you will clear the way." I felt betrayed all over again. Victor wasn't just a victim, he was hiding a criminal past. When he returned, I confronted him, holding the USB. What deal, Victor? What smuggling? Who were you protecting? His face paled, but before he could answer, the door burst open. Two men in dark jackets stood there, guns drawn. Where's the money, Brooks? One growled. Victor pushed me behind him, whispering, Eleanor, run. But I didn't run. I grabbed the fireplace poker, adrenaline surging. Who are you? I demanded. The men laughed, but their eyes were cold. Your husband owes us. Daniel was supposed to deliver, but he's dead, and now we're here for what's ours. Victor's voice was steady. It's gone. I burned it to keep it from them. The men didn't believe him. One lunged, and chaos erupted. Victor tackled him, shouting for me to call the police. I dialed 911, but as I did, a gunshot rang out. The second man fell, clutching his leg, and there stood Sophie out on bail, holding a pistol. Mom, Dad, we need to talk, she said, her voice eerily calm. My mind reeled. Was she saving us, or part of this? She lowered the gun, but kept it ready. I didn't want it to come to this. Marcus forced me. He's tied to these guys. They're after the money Daniel and Dad hid from a smuggling deal years ago. Victor's face confirmed it. Eleanor, I was young, stupid. I helped Daniel move some goods, nothing big, I thought. But it grew, and we couldn't get out. When Sophia found out, she used it to blackmail me. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Stopped. The same mysterious number that had first alerted me at the funeral was back. Was it really Victor texting me before, or someone else? And what's safe? We didn't have one, nor so I thought. Victor was out fishing the next morning, so I tore through the cottage. Searching behind an old bookshelf in his study, I found a hidden panel, and inside, a small safe. My hands trembled as I tried combinations. Our anniversary, Sophia's birthday, until it clicked open on Daniel's birth date, a date Victor had never shared. Inside were documents, photos, and a USB drive. The photos showed Victor and Daniel together, recent, not decades old, at a shady dockside bar. Documents revealed Victor had been paying Daniel monthly thousands of dollars labeled protection. The USB held audio files. I played one, and my blood ran cold. It was Victor's voice, talking to Daniel. They're on to us, Don. If they find out about the deal, we're both dead. Daniel replied, you should have never gotten involved with those people. I told you the smuggling would catch up. Smuggling? Victor, my honest fisherman, involved in something illegal. Another file had Daniel saying, Sophia knows about the cash stash. She's working with Marcus to get it. They think killing you will clear the way. I felt betrayed all over again. Victor wasn't just a victim. He was hiding a criminal past. When he returned, I confronted him, holding the USB. What deal, Victor? What smuggling? Who were you protecting? His face paled, but before he could answer, the door burst open. Two men in dark jackets stood there, guns drawn. Where's the money, Brooks? One growled. Victor pushed me behind him, whispering, Eleanor, run. But I didn't run. I grabbed the fireplace poker, adrenaline surging. Who are you? I demanded. The men laughed, but their eyes were cold. Your husband owes us. Daniel was supposed to deliver, but he's dead, and now we're here for what's ours. Victor's voice was steady. It's gone. I burned it to keep it from them. The men didn't believe him. One lunged, and chaos erupted. Victor tackled him, shouting for me to call the police. I dialed 911, but as I did, a gunshot rang out. The second man fell, clutching his leg, and there stood Sophie out on bail, holding a pistol. Mom, Dad, we need to talk, she said, her voice eerily calm. My mind reeled. Was she saving us, or a part of this? She lowered the gun but kept it ready. I didn't want it to come to this. Marcus forced me. He's tied to these guys. They're after the money Daniel and Dad hid from a smuggling deal years ago. Victor's face confirmed it. Eleanor, I was young, stupid. I helped Daniel move some goods, nothing big, I thought, but it grew, and we couldn't get out. When Sophia found out, she used it to blackmail me. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. I didn't want Dad dead, Mom. I just wanted the money to escape Marcus's debts, but he went too far. Another twist. Marcus appeared from the shadows outside, gun in hand. You're all so predictable, he sneered. Sophia, you think you can turn on me? Before anyone could react, police sirens wailed, and officers stormed in, arresting Marcus and the intruders. Sophia dropped her gun, sobbing. They gaslit griefs, making you paranoid. planned to commit me. But I found DNA tests in Victor's files, confirming Sophia was adopted secretly after our real daughter died young. Victor hid it to protect me. Investigator met me. Recordings of Sophia and Marcus plotting sedatives in Victor's thermos, staging accident for insurance, debts, Marcus's failed investments, $80,000 owed, Sophia's luxury habits, but twist. Sophia blackmailed Victor over the adoption secret, forcing insurance hikes. They planned my murder too. After insurance, mom's next. Overdose, call it suicide. But the biggest twist, Victor wasn't dead. The body was his twin, murdered to fake Victor's death, allowing him to investigate from hiding. The messages were from Victor himself. Police raid, arrests, but Victor emerged, alive, revealing all. Sophia confessed. She learned of the switch, resented us, allied with Marcus for revenge and money. Trial, guilty, life sentences. Sophia begged forgiveness. Marcus denied. I founded Victor Brooks Foundation for Betrayal Victims. Years later, peace with Victor by my side, garden by sea, helping others. Truth heals, even through twists. After Victor emerged from hiding, revealing he had faked his death to uncover Sophia and Marcus's plot, I thought the worst was over. My husband was alive, my heart was whole again, and our daughter adopted, as we'd just learned it, faced justice alongside her husband for their monstrous scheme. But I was wrong to think the storm had passed. The truth, like the ocean Victor loved, had deeper currents, and every answer led to more questions, each one darker than the last. We were back in our cottage in Harborview, trying to reclaim the life we'd built over 46 years of marriage. Victor's return was a miracle, but it came with shadows. His face, once so open, now carried a guarded look, as if he were still watching for threats. The revelation about his twin brother, Daniel, haunted me. Victor had never mentioned a twin, only a vague reference in an old journal about a brother who died young, in suspicious circumstances. Now I knew Daniel had been alive until just weeks ago, murdered to stage Victor's death. Why had Victor kept this secret from me? And what else was he hiding? One night, as we sat by the fireplace, I confronted him. Victor, why didn't you tell me about Daniel, about any of this? His eyes, those familiar blue eyes, flickered with pain. Eleanor, I wanted to protect you. Daniel was trouble, always was. He got mixed up with dangerous people years ago. Debts, smuggling. I cut ties to keep us safe. When he showed up last year, begging for help, I couldn't say no, but I didn't know it would come to this. His words didn't soothe me. Come to what, Victor? Your own brother's murder, faking your death, leaving me to grieve while you played detective. My voice cracked, anger mixing with relief that he was alive. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I had to, Eleanor. Sophia and Marcus were closing in, pressuring me about insurance, the cottage. Daniel warned me they'd approached him, offering money to disappear. When I found out Sophia wasn't ours, I knew she'd do anything to secure the money she thought was hers. The adoption secret still stung. Sophia, the girl we'd raised as our own, wasn't our biological daughter. Our real daughter had died hours after birth, and the hospital, in a twisted act of bureaucracy, swapped her with another baby Sophia without telling us. Victor discovered this years later but kept it from me to spare my heart. I thought love was enough, he said softly. But when Sophia found out, it changed her. She felt cheated, like we'd lied about her whole life. I wanted to believe him. But a new text message from an unknown number shattered my trust. Victor's not telling you everything. Daniel's death wasn't just about money. You could move to a retirement village, Marcus suggested. Safer, with amenities. It felt like they were erasing our life. Victor confided in me one night. Something's off, Eleanor. They're too eager. I brushed it off as parental worry, but doubts crept in. Then, a mysterious letter arrived for Victor, anonymous, warning him to watch your back. Old secrets die hard. He burned it, saying it was a prank, but his hands shook. The accident happened on a foggy Monday morning. Victor left early for the docks. As always, I was in the kitchen, brewing coffee, when the phone rang. Mrs. Brooks, this is Harborview Hospital. Your husband had a boating mishap. Please come quickly. My world tilted. I rushed there, heart pounding. Sophia and Marcus were already in the waiting room. How? I hadn't called them yet. Mom, we heard from a friend at the docks, Sophia explained, hugging me, but their eyes seemed dry, their concern scripted. As I sat there, a nurse whispered, he kept muttering about betrayal before he passed out. Betrayal? From whom? Victor was in ICU, bandaged, machines beeping. Doctors said he'd fallen overboard, hit his head, and nearly drowned, but Victor was an expert swimmer, cautious with weather, hypothermia, and head trauma. They explained. For 3 days, I stayed by his side, holding his hand. He squeezed mine once, lips moving silently, but nurses dismissed it as spasms. Sophia and Marcus hovered, asking about insurance, costs. The policy will cover this, Marcus said. Why focus on money now? That night, I snuck a look at Victor's chart, traces of sedatives, not prescribed. How? On the 4th day, Victor's condition, worsened infection, organ failure. We need to discuss end of life, the doctor said. I begged for more time, but Sophia whispered, Mom, Dad wouldn't want to suffer. He's a burden like this. Burden rage boiled in me. That night, alone with Victor, he stirred again, whispering faintly, Careful, them, brother. Before slipping back, brother. The journal entry flashed in my mind. He died at dawn. I wailed, clutching him. Sophia and Marcus arranged the funeral, swiftly simple, few attendees. Dad hated fuss, they said, but Victor loved people. He'd want a celebration. At the graveside, rain soaking us, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I'm alive. That's not me buried. Don't trust our daughter. My breath caught. Who? I texted back. Reply. Can't say. Watching Sophia and Marcus involved. The world spun. I glanced at Sophia, her tears seeming forced. Marcus, checking his watch. But then, another text. Check the body, not Victor. That night, alone in the cottage, grief mixed with suspicion. Victor's accident felt wrong. He'd checked the boat meticulously. How did Sophia know so fast? More messages came. Check insurance. They pushed it. I rifled through Victor's desk, finding the new policy beneficiaries. Me, but with clauses favoring Sophia if I predeceased. Odd. Another note in Victor's hand. Sophia insists on more coverage. Feels wrong. Marcus too pushy. Then, a hidden compartment revealed old photos of Victor with a twin brother I'd never known about. Twins. The twist hit hard. Was the body in the grave not Victor, but his brother? Bank statements shocked me. Withdrawals $2,000. $5 Victor supposedly for boat repairs. But he hadn't mentioned them. Signatures looked forged, shaky. Messages urged, go to docks, ask witnesses. I did. Old fisherman said no fog that morning. Victor's boat was tampered, lines cut, engine sabotaged. Looked deliberate, one whispered, but one added, saw 2 men arguing on the dock that night, looked alike. Twins again. The truth unraveled. Autopsy hinted at sedatives in blood, not just drowning. Hospital records altered. Sophia signed as family liaison. Messages revealed sender, private investigator Victor Hyatt, suspecting foul play, but the investigator added a twist. Victor discovered Sophia isn't your biological daughter, switched at birth. She knows, and it's why she's desperate. Confrontations escalated. Sophia visited. Mom, sell the cottage, move near us. I accused. What really happened to Dad? Panic flashed. Laughed it off as kid stuff, but I wondered if it was more. We poured everything into her anyway. Money was tight. Victor's fishing hauls varied with the seasons, and my library job paid modestly, but we saved every penny for her future. She was bright, always top of her class, with dreams bigger than our small town. Mom, Dad, I want to see the world, she'd say, her eyes sparkling. We encouraged her, sacrificing vacations and new clothes so she could attend college in the city. Victor even sold his father's old boat to help with tuition, though it broke his heart. It's for our girl, he'd say, hugging me tight. She make us proud. Sophia did make us proud at first. She graduated with honors in business, landed a job at a prestigious marketing firm, and met her husband, Marcus, a sharp-dressed executive with ambitions that matched hers. They married in a lavish city wedding we could barely afford to attend, but we were there, beaming with joy. Marcus seemed charming, always polite, though his smiles felt a bit too polished. Soon, they bought a sleek apartment overlooking the skyline, drove luxury cars, and talked endlessly about investments and networking. But that's when the first twist crept in. I overheard Sophia on the phone during one visit, whispering about covering tracks from her college days. I dismissed it as work stress, but it nagged at me. As their success grew, so did the distance. Visits home became rare. Phone calls were rushed, filled with excuses about busy schedules. Mom, we're swamped with work, Sophia would say, but we'll come soon. When they did visit, it was in their shiny SUV, dressed in designer clothes that made our cottage look even shabbier. Marcus would eye the place with barely concealed disdain, suggesting upgrades like it was a fixer-upper project. "This place has potential," he'd say, "but you could sell it for a nice sum and move to something modern." During one such visit, I found a crumpled note in Sophia's purse while she was in the bathroom, something about debts piling up, need quick cash. My heart skipped, but I said nothing, fearing I'd invade her privacy. Victor noticed the change first. "Eleanor, money's twisted them," he'd whisper at night, staring at the ceiling. "They look at us like we're relics." I'd defend them, saying they were just adapting to city life, but deep down, I felt the sting. Sophia's hugs grew perfunctory. Her conversations centered on her achievements rather than family memories. Marcus was worseways on his phone, closing deals even at dinner. "Family time is important," I'd remind them, but they'd nod absently. Then came the pregnancy announcement, but with a twist. Sophia confided she wasn't sure Marcus was the father, swearing me to secrecy. "It's complicated, Mom." I was stunned, but promised to keep quiet, adding another layer of unease. The rift deepened when Sophia announced her pregnancy. We were overjoyed, but their visits didn't increase. Instead, they started pressuring us about our finances. "Dad, at your age, fishing is risky," Sophia said during one rare visit. "You should retire. Sell the boat, the cottage, invest the money wisely." Victor, then 65, loved the sea too much to quit. "This is my life," he'd reply firmly, but I saw the hurt in his eyes. Marcus chimed in, "Think about the future. What if something happens? You need better insurance." That's when I found Victor's old journal, hidden in the attic, mentioning a family secret from his youth, a brother he'd never told me about, who died young in suspicious circumstances. Was this connected? I pushed it aside, but the suspense built. That's when the insurance talks began. Victor had a modest life policy from his fishing days, worth $20,000, but Sophia and Marcus insisted he upgrade it. "For Mom's sake," Sophia said, her voice sweet but insistent. "If anything happens, she'll be taken care of." Victor resisted at first, but they wore him down with visits from agents they recommended. He signed for a $100,000 policy, plus accident coverage for another $50,000. "It's for peace of mind," he told me, though he looked uneasy. Later, I discovered the policy had a hidden clause: if Victor died at sea, double payout. Who added that? Sophia claimed it was standard, but doubt gnawed at me. Months passed, and their pressure intensified. They wanted us to sell the cottage valued at $150,000 due to rising coastal property prices. Thought for 10s. My name is Eleanor Brooks, and I'm 68 years old. What I'm about to share with you shattered my world, but it also rebuilt me into someone stronger than I ever imagined. It all started on a rainy afternoon at my husband Victor's funeral, where a single text message from an unknown number turned my grief into a nightmare of suspicion and betrayal. But as the layers peeled back, the twists kept coming, revealing secrets I never saw coming, secrets that made me question not just my family, but my own past. Let me take you back to the beginning, so you understand how a loving family can unravel into something monstrous, with revelations that hit like waves in a storm. Victor and I met when we were both 22. In the quaint coastal town of Harborview. I was working as a librarian in the local library, surrounded by books that fueled my dreams of adventure, while Victor was a fisherman, inheriting his father's small boat and a love for the sea that defined him. We weren't rich, far from it. Our early days were filled with patched clothes, simple meals of fresh fish and homegrown vegetables, and a tiny cottage by the shore that whistled in the wind. But we had each other, and that was enough. Our love was like the ocean deep, enduring, and sometimes stormy, but always pulling us back together. I remember our first real date vividly. It was a crisp autumn evening. Victor showed up at the library just as I was closing, his hands calloused from hauling nets, holding a bouquet of wildflowers he'd picked from the cliffs. "Eleanor," he said with that shy grin that made my heart flutter, "would you like to watch the sunset from my boat? I promise no rough waves." I laughed and said yes, even though I was terrified of the water back then. That night, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in oranges and pinks, he told me stories of his adventures at sea, and I shared my favorite book plots. By the end of it, I knew I'd found my anchor. We married a year later, in a simple ceremony on the beach, with just our families and a few friends. No fancy dress or cake, just vows exchanged under the open sky. Our first home was that drafty cottage, where we'd huddle by the fireplace during winter storms, dreaming of the family we'd build. When our daughter Sophia arrived 2 years into our marriage, it felt like the universe had gifted us perfection. She had Victor's bright blue eyes and my curly brown hair, a bundle of joy that filled our home with laughter. Victor was an incredible father. He'd take her out on calm days to teach her about the tides, showing her how to spot dolphins or tie knots. I'd read her bedtime stories, tucking her in with kisses and promises of tomorrow's adventures. But even in those early years, there were hints of shadows I ignored. Sophia had a secretive streak as a child, hiding toys she'd borrowed from neighbors, lying about small things like who broke the vase.